Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 3 where we talk about pumpkin everything. So anything that has to do with pumpkins, I decided to put into one category. It makes the most sense, right? So when I designed these pages digitally, I was going to start off with a photo on the right-hand side. So the left-hand side is going to need a filler page. And since the kit that I am using has a ton of pumpkin die cuts, I decided to make a pumpkin page and also die cut a bunch of letters that spell out pumpkin everything. And this way, it also repeats what I did with story number 2 in Weird Weather, where I used the same alphabets and I also used some glitter glue Nuvo drops. Okay, so I am going to glue down pumpkin and everything and then figure out where I want my pumpkins to go at the bottom. I put a piece of black paper at the bottom because that kind of made me think of dirt, and then I put a pumpkin pattern paper, and above that is where I'll put the die cuts. I just thought in terms of a scene of pumpkins that black would make sense at the bottom and then a pattern paper. Making sure that I have the pumpkin letters straight and everything. I thought I was going to hyphen that word, but then I remembered that when I had cut these letters, I did make sure that they would fit all the way across. I also kind of learned that when I am using my glue pen, it's better if I flip all the letters over, put the glue on all at one time, and then put the letters back on. That way I'm not having a bunch of sticky fingers. I did learn from another scrapbook friend that spray adhesive on a paper plate would probably work better than getting sticky fingers just using tweezers, but I didn't have any spray adhesive, so glue stick works just fine. And this glue stick has been such a great tool over the years. Okay, so laying out my pumpkins, it's going to be so fun. I have a jack-o'-lantern with a face that I decided to pop dot, a little yellow one that I will pop dot as well. Then I'll add some in the background and pop dot a few more with my foam adhesive. So that way I get all the colors from the different pumpkins in this kit, and I just create a little bit of dimension and a great way to introduce this section and these stories that I have, because I'm sure many of us have a ton of pumpkin patch photos and different things that we do with pumpkins and celebrating pumpkins, right? So this is probably an easy category to think of different stories, but you just have to be careful that you don't go too crazy with all the photos, because I know I had to kind of limit myself on how many photos I wanted to include, because it's good to remember that just a few photos will still tell the same story. Like, you don't have to have every single photo, right? Okay, I have my fun pumpkin everything page done. You saw how it sparkles now, and I will let that dry. We went with our good friends, and I decided to put the journaling right below that and make 2 clusters in the bottom left and the top right. So just a little mixture of, die cuts with beautiful fall and pumpkin and a flower. And I just talked about how we absolutely loved going places together. We loved our friendship with this mom and this girl. She was my daughter's best friend till they moved away, but it was so fun to see them run free in the big fields and the corn rows. It just so fun to see how happy they were being outside and exploring all the different spots at the pumpkin patch. So it was just really, really fun. And because I had a lot of photos, I am going to use another collage to just kind of pick my favorites. So once I flip it over, I will add on the 6x8 collage. Then I'll add some die cuts right on top of it. And it's again going to be a mixture of flowers and pumpkins. So just mixing it all in there. Use some negative space over by the hay bales in the photo and the corn rows. So I just love using negative space to add in my die cuts. It makes the most sense to me. I also got a great photo of the girls enjoying their snack, which was a big part of toddler preschool time, right? You got to feed your kids snacks. I also did include a 3x4 page protector with some favorite photos of my daughter. She wore boots every year during this time, and it was so fun to see her in her boots. She loved conquering the hay bales and lifting up a big pumpkin. So I just discussed those photos in my journaling and how happy, her smile is so big because she's so proud of herself that she picked up this big pumpkin. And same thing with the hay bales. She was just so proud of herself that she got really high up in the hay bales. Well, high up for her, right? But I love these photos. They're very memorable. The next little story is going to be about the family pumpkin patch. Now, when I was thinking about the 13 stories, I did not count the pumpkin patch with friends and family as two separate stories. Just one big story to tell about the pumpkin patch. So for me, that worked better. I had a lot of photos from the family trip that I really, really loved. So I did not use a collage, and I used mainly 3x4 and 4x6 photos. I got a great family photo that someone took for us on the train, and I just trimmed a floral die cut to frame around the photo. For the kids' photo, I used the same type of florals to coordinate and also added in a pumpkin and autumn adventures up in the top left. I talked about in my journaling how this was the pumpkin place to go to. That's why we went with our friends and we went as a family, because there's just so much to do at this particular pumpkin patch, and my kids just loved it. There was the pumpkin patch to go to, the hay bales, feeding the goats, which my kids were not a fan of, but they liked watching Dad take over, and so that was fun. And they loved running in the cornfields together. And after this 4x6 horizontal page, you'll see some cute photos of my kids, because they were at the stage of life where they were still willing to take cute photos. You know, when you say, hey sis, or hey bro, give your sibling a kiss, they were still willing to do that. And it was a really sweet moment that I captured between them. So I'm glad that I put those photos in. I kept them very simple when I decorated them with just a few pink die cuts with hearts, and then love this photo. So that was definitely a really great way for us as a family to celebrate fall and October. The last piece of pumpkin everything is decorating pumpkins. Now, I have always tried to get my kids to like carving pumpkins and touching the pumpkin guts, but that was not going to happen this year. I didn't want to have that battle this particular year. So we took the pumpkins outside and started painting them and decorating them. And later on in the evening, we finished them up inside with a big, sheet that we could use to paint on. And I just talked about how, the kids really did not like anything to do with guts or anything. And I included these photos even though the quality wasn't the best. I talked about this in the first lesson with my weird weather photo. The photo of my son and I carving pumpkins was a little bit blurry, but I still love it. My son's wearing fake glasses, and he has his eye protection to get messy, and it's the best. It's the best. On the back, I have us finishing the pumpkins, and I am making a 4x6 card to include some more of the journaling. I really wanted to go a little bit deeper with my journaling and deeper on the story of pumpkin guts and how we really don't carve pumpkins. And if we do, Dad usually takes over, and my husband is nice enough and is a great dad, because he keeps trying every year to get them to enjoy carving pumpkins, and he's just so patient with the pumpkin carving. So I wanted to go a little further with my story on pumpkin decorating. So I used another flip pocket for the 4x6 adhesive. I did realize that I included 2 photos of our finished pumpkins, but that's okay. I'm totally okay with that. So one of them is smaller, and it just talks about how our finished pumpkins look wonderful, and we'll add them to the windowsill. And we also added in some fun foam stickers to them. Okay. So So that is those pages on the pumpkins and everything to do with pumpkins. I'm going to put that back into the album, and I now have 2 different stories to document pumpkins, and I am excited to move on to the next lesson where we do some more October fun seasonal activities, kind of thinking about those type of activities. So I hope you have enjoyed seeing all these different pumpkin stories and ideas, and I will see you in lesson 4.